welcome back to a new episode of Saturdays with Dad. We got a good concept of videos here this week. We're going to make this not weekly, but we're going to make this a little series of talking about album covers that we love. So we're going to talk about progressive rock ones for a few weeks, and then possibly even dive into albums that are non-progressive rock, just some maybe things like Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath, things that just aren't prog related album cover wise. Which would be a good concept. So we're not talking about music today. As much as we love the music on each of these albums, it's strictly art related.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is a thing that we're going to talk about because there's with certain albums there's such a difference between the music contained in the album and the album art cover. Mm-hmm. My example is no more exemplified than in the album that I consider the greatest album of all time, Pet Sounds, which has the worst album cover of all time. But that's my taste anyhow. There's no invention in the album cover of that cover. It's just a picture of the band basically feeding animals. Yeah. And that's it, but So
these albums that we're going to be picking up, they might not necessarily be our favourite albums of a particular group. For example, my favourite album of Genesis is Nursery Rhyme, but I'm picking a different album cover. I've also tried to pick albums that are not the same as each other, but there might be some crossover some points. But a lot of them I've tried to pick different ones. So I think we should just begin. I've got a list here. So we're going to do 10 bands today, from the 60s, 70s and early 80s, and then next week we're going to be covering more modern progressive rock, so from the late 80s to the present day. So let's just start now. So we're going to start with Genesis. Very good prog band, very good.
Very good.
So my favourite is the Selling England by the Pound album cover. I just love the artwork and the way it's drawn out, and it's just so pretty looking. The colour palette and everything, it really does kind of give you an idea of what the album's about, and it's the music on it is amazing as well, of course. Yeah. But this is great. It's very English, and I do like that. It's very proggy as well. So you got the lawnmower there as well. So what about you, Dad? What's your favourite Genesis album?
Well, my favourite Genesis album, actually, we've been talking about the difference between an album cover and the music cover. This clashes together. This happens to be my best Genesis album and my favourite artwork. So this is Nursery Rhyme.
So that's my favourite Genesis album. Though.
Yeah, I love this because this is there's a sort of Victorian macabre feeling to this album cover, isn't there? This little girl here playing croquet, which is a very English.
No, they're little heads.
Decapitated heads. But
and
it's very good.
On the other side.
And the country mansion on the other side and statue. I think it's just the band's way of saying, well, we're here.
And we're English.
We're English and we're progressive rock. And we like theatre. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, the whole theatre part of it. So this is Genesis.
So these are our choices for Genesis.
So next we're going to go for Yes, another band that's very important in the history of progressive rock. You can go first for this one. Right.
My favourite album of Yes, obviously we did this last week, was obvious for me is the Yes album. But my favourite album cover of theirs, I think after the last video we did, that it's possibly no surprise. Of course, it's Relayer by Yes and Roger Dean's fantastic artwork.
The landscapes are great.
It's just so Tolkien-esque, isn't it? It's just like the Fellowship just coming into Rivendell, or going out of Rivendell into towards the mines of Moria.
Then you've got the snake that leads into the back.
And they've got the snake,
leads into the back there.
Back there. It's just fantastic, and it's got this sort of like ethereal, sort of grey, heavenly look to it, hasn't it?
Right.
Really, I just think it's just to me, when it comes to Yes, I find that this album's cover is probably can't be beaten. But then, Neve, you have your choice.
So my shirt here, I've got Tales from Topographic Oceans, and that is my favourite album cover as well. Again, not my favourite Yes album. My favourite Yes album, as you guys know, is Close to the Edge. But I do love this one a lot because I like the night, and it's got the kind of misty waters here and the little building in the back, little temple in the back there, with the stars and the font as well. It's fantastic. I do love the Yes logo. And then on the back, the fish, so beautifully drawn. And, you know, the gradients here, and it's just so great. I'm a big Roger Dean fan. I do like the gatefold cover of Close to the Edge, because you see the cover of it and it's just the gradient green. And then you open it out and there's this landscape that's been drawn out. But we're going off covers, not in the gatefolds. But this is probably my favourite. And if you stretch it all out and it all kind of leads into each other.
You get a panoramic view,
It all just kind of leads
nice,
into
isn't
each
it?
other.
Beautiful.
So that's my favourite Yes album cover. So next, King Crimson. There's so many different choices for this one, but I'm going to go first because I've got a story attached to this one. So this isn't my favourite King Crimson album. This is In the Court of the Crimson King. Mine is red, but that album cover is just 3 guys on the front, so nothing too artsy about it. I guess it's artsy in its own way, but I do love this one because I got a story attached to it. First time I ever was lent this album, I was scared of the album cover. I woke up during the night and turned the light on. I looked over and I just saw this scary looking face, and I did have a bit of a jump. So I think if an album cover can strike an emotion like that, something like fear, then it's a good album cover in and of itself. And, you know, the inner artwork as well in here is really good as well. Very inventive, very creative for the time. Of course, this is 1969, and just very scary. Very cool, though. I do love this a lot.
Yeah, very good album.
And definitely want to give to someone getting into progressive rock.
Yep.
So what about you, Dan?
Well, I'm come from the same view as you on King Crimson. My favourite, there's a late King Crimson album I like. I can't remember which is the one we got recently.
Thrack.
I like that a lot. But I digress. My favourite King Crimson album, like Neve, is Red. Album cover. So as I say, this is a album cover video, and my favourite, and I have to say I love this album.
It's quite underrated.
And it's very underrated. In the Wake of Poseidon. I just love this album. It's almost like a pre-Raphaelite cover, and
I think it leads into the back as well.
And also, maybe, as you say, it leads into the back. I like that sort of psychedelic feel in the centre.
Yeah, there we go.
And
different colours palette as well.
Different colours. It's just like something, and the images of the faces here are so haunting as well.
Yeah.
This to me is without doubt my favourite album cover of King Crimson.
So next we're going to go to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. You picked the one that I wanted to pick, but I wanted to
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, favourite album, Tarkus, no doubt about it. Favourite album cover,
bit different.
Brain Salad Surgery. I just love this. It's almost a bit like that. The artwork on this is a bit like that. The artwork and the Alien.
Because it's the same. It's the same guy.
It's the same person that helped design all the artwork in the Alien films and everything.
He's done a lot of album covers as well.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember his name, but I'm sure one of you do. But it's got that, as I say, Alien feel, and also when you sort of open it up, like
it's got a good opener.
And it's got that. I just do absolutely adore it. Okay, it's sort of minimalist, but of course, as I say, I quite like album covers with particularly progressive rock album covers with sort of faces and things like that. Very prog that.
Yeah, and the way you kind of can open it and see the rest of the photo as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of alien design with the.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Oh, blimey. So this is the album, just the back. The back of it is just black, but it's the album cover I like a lot. So this is Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Great album as well. So same with Dad. My favourite album of ELP is Tarkus, but Trilogy is coming up to a close second. But my favourite album cover, I picked this one because you picked Brain Salad Surgery, so I picked my second favourite. I love birds. I like birds, and I like album covers that have birds and wildlife and any sort of creatures on it. I love the dove. It's this faded kind of airbrushed look to the dove here that I really like. And then you turn it around, there's a face on the back.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot, and the drawings and everything is so good. It's not a terrible album as well.
I just like the Emerson Lake and Pond. The font is
the font
lovely,
is very good as well. It works with the kind of
almost country rock. The font.
It's I like the color scheme. You know, it's the bright pink font, and then with the kind of greyish greeny background and the dove and everything. It's just so pretty looking.
I'm sure I've got a new Riders of the Purple Sage album with that kind of font on it.
But yeah, and then it follows the same scheme with the pink font in the back. But this is great. Great album as well. It's a great debut. Again, favourite is not this one, but it is up there. Alright, so next we're going to go to Rush, one of my favourite bands of all time. And I just happen to have my favourite Rush album here, and the reason I picked this one is because they're standing on a brain. Like, that's just very creative, isn't it? And the floating brains at the back as well. I hope YouTube will not get angry at me because there is a bum on the back on here, so I hope they don't censor me for that. But this is great. I like the colour scheme, like the joint of the font and everything, and it's just very bold, so it's not like overly, you know, colour crazy, but it is very nice looking, and it's almost very kind of like religious artwork, if you know what I mean, with the way that this guy is standing. You know, it's very cool. And then the guy with the suit and the cane there, it's very, very nice. Yeah. And as I said, the brains on the back. It's very cool, very fun, and it's a fantastic album. It's my favourite Rush album, so that's good.
Well, my favourite Rush album is 2112, and normally I would say, for me, that would be the no-brainer. Favourite album, favourite artwork as well, because it's a great cover.
But the one you're about to pick is very good.
This is so much better. And it is early Rush.
It's their second album.
Fly By Night. Look at that.
It's got such a great colour scheme.
Oh, the colour and the menace of this owl. It's just wonderful. It's fantastic, and the detail on it, and you know, it just looks at you, and it's
the big amber eyes.
Yeah, you sort of look at it and you go, whoa, like that, because you're thinking I'm a mouse or something like that, and I'm just about to pounce. But this is so prog. Well, Neve and I always talk about what we consider as classic prog birds.
We've been on walks and we've just looked at landscapes and stuff like that, and that'd be a great album cover.
Yeah. And when it comes to birds, we think possibly the seminal album, prog birds are owls and swans.
Doves as well.
And doves, and other owls or birds of prey, doves and swans. They're the seminal, they're the seminal prog birds on, and so what's not to like about this album?
It's a great album as well.
It's a great album. It's sort of my kind of, I love it because it's sort of very rocky and it's got an edge to it.
It's the start of their prog journey because this is the first album with Neil Peart on it. Brought in the prog, and so they're still doing the kind of Led Zeppelin-y kind of feel, but also with that.
Ooh.
Yes.
There's actual track on here called Rivendell. Brilliant.
Yeah, Tour on the Snow Dogs, a great track as well.
But Fly By Night is the best one. I love that album. This is a great album.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's Rush.
So that is Rush, and that is Fly By Night. So next we have Gentle Giant. I've been listening to a lot of Gentle Giant lately. So do you want to go first this time?
Okay, fine. I was talking earlier about I love albums with faces on it.
Scary looking things.
Scary looking things. But certainly when it comes to progressive rock.
Yeah.
Or progressive music, shall I say. I hate to call it progressive rock in a way because there's so much involved. But for me, this sums up, and it's their first album. I like this album. This is my favourite Gentle Giant album. And this is
the self-titled one.
Self-titled Gentle Giant album. And it's got a nice little picture of the band.
All drawn out really nicely as well. There we go. And it folds out, so if you actually open up the gatefold and look at it, the front is the whole guy.
Again, there's this sort of, this chap is a giant. and they're great. It is actually a gentle giant because he's got that
He's
sort
got
of
a nice look in his
benign look and very nice look to
innocent
him,
look,
and you know, like he's almost gonna invite the band in. Look how he's holding the band up as if he's protecting them and taking them off to the pub. Great. What's not to like about this? It's brilliant. I love
fantastic.
this. Great album cover. So my Gentle Giant favourite album cover is the self-titled first album.
Do you know what I like? Is everyone out there who has the Unburied Treasure box set, the actual cover of it is the giant, but he's aged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got grey
man.
hair and everything.
Yeah.
I'll show you that later, Dad. But if you have it, you'll know what I mean. It's very, very cool. My favourite, we were talking about Roger Dean earlier, is the Octopus album cover. I mean, look at that. I love creatures. As I said, I love...
great album as well.
I love albums with animals on them. That might just be my kind of animal lover coming out, but you know, I love sea creatures, I love sea life, and I just love this so well drawn out, the giant squid who, you know what, they said that the giant squid was extinct, but there was a case of it, I think, in like the late 2000s, so that's very cool as well. You know, the big
Roger
tie.
Dean as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yep.
And it all leads into the back as per usual, and it's, I mean, you can tell by the font as well. I do like the colour scheme, and it's just so well drawn, and it's just a big octopus on the front, and it's just, I do love it. I do love just this album cover, and the sky, it's kind of gloomy, but it kind of works with the kind of
absolutely,
the middle of the sea,
absolutely, almost storms raging and everything.
That is very prog.
Yeah, very, very much so. You would never think of a squid as such as classically prog.
No, but this is a bit. Well, the giant squid was a prehistoric creature, so it is kind of prog in its own way because it's prehistoric, it's old, you know. But this is very, very nice and just a great album as well. I re-listened to this very recently. It's great. Been, as I said, going through a bit of a Gentle Giant phase at the moment. Next is Graaf Generator. I'll go first for this one. My pick is my favourite album of theirs, actually, and this is Pawn Hearts, and I like, because the name Pawn, I like the chess piece. They've got the little chess pieces on the front here, and you know, I think it's got pictures of the band inside the little pieces as well. And it's the space theme. I love space, and you know, you got Earth there, and they're all flying around in space. It's so proggy, with just how it is, and it's a great album. It works with the actual music as well. They're such a great band. I really wish I could see them live at some point, because I know that they are touring apparently in the UK. But this is great. I love the font. It's kind of sparkly and matches the kind of stars and everything, and the space theme, and it's very cool. I could talk about this album forever because I love it that much, but this is very good. And it's you know, it's almost like a curtain because it kind of leads up into the back here. So yeah, this is very, very good, and this is Graaf Generator. Pawn Hearts. So, what's your pick, Dad?
My pick is...
For Graaf Generator.
The Least We Can Do Is Wave at Each Other. This is a great album cover.
It's a great album as well.
And, you know, picture of the band, which
on the back,
at the back, hiding from the electrical storm that's created by this.
This is actually
monolith.
This is actually called a Graaf Generator. So the piece of science equipment, actually.
Yeah.
I learnt that when I was looking up this band.
And you know, it's just got that feel a bit about it, and you've got not just the Graaf Generator there and the band, but you see the band almost hiding away to escape the electrical.
The painting is so good as well.
The painting's fantastic, lovely layers and colour. And I mean, this isn't my favourite one. Is it Godbluff? Godbluff, sorry. Godbluff is my favourite of the Graaf Generators albums. I like Pawn Hearts, but this is a great album as well. It's Graaf Generator.
What can you say?
So this is the least we can do is wave for each other, and it's just a good album.
So the next band we have is Procol Harum, and you can go first for this one.
All right. Procol Harum, probably one of the first truly great progressive rock groups with other bands like Soft Machine and the early Moody Blues. They did an album towards the end of the 60s called The Salty Dog. And this has to be my favourite because it's a fairly simple cover. It's not.
It matches the music though.
But the music is fantastic, and you've got your Salty Dog in here.
Yeah.
And you've got the and it's like the old cigarette packet in that sort of respect. And was it Capstan? I think it was Capstan that had this sort of kind of cigarette packet colour. And here you see him and everything like that. And so it really does sum up this particular album, because this is also my favourite Procol Harum album, as well as my favourite cover. And it's got some fantastic, the title track is so moving, it's so beautiful. And the last track, it's signed off Pilgrim's Progress.
That's probably my favourite.
Oh, that's beautiful as well. But that aside, the actual, I like the sort of rope that surrounds
I was about to point that out.
the rope that comes out here.
It's very sea.
I believe this is a Japanese pressing from our friend, isn't it?
Yeah. So
which we will talk.
We will talk about this at some point. I mentioned it in the box sets that I did in my May haul. All of the Japanese stuff that I wanted to show you guys and maybe go into a bit more detail, because we have got some other ones around in the living room here.
Well, we just love this guy.
And we'll talk about it in another video, because this is a strictly album cover video.
All right.
So my favourite is this one.
Yes, another Japanese.
This is from the same box set. And I was going to pick this Salty Dog one, but I liked this one because I just love the artwork. I mean, and that's the point of the video, isn't it?
It's very 60s.
But it is very 60s.
Very Bieber, very 60s.
It's very nice. It's just black and white, very simple colour palette, but it's very effective. And, just kind of, just very kind of, not regal, but kind of just blissful, I guess. And it's just very nice.
Yeah.
It just gives me a sense of ease.
I think. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I think the woman in front is sort of a bit of a. Would you say Galadriel?
A bit, yeah. No, absolutely, definitely.
Galadriel.
Or that kind of Lord of the Rings-ish kind of feeling to it, and the music's good as well. I listened to this album very recently for the first time, and I did like it a lot. But this is probably my favourite because just the black and white. I like black and white album covers as well. Very simple, and just the font. Simple yet effective. I use that phrase a lot when I talk about things. Simple yet effective.
Yeah.
Next, we have Caravan, which was actually going to be next week's video, but we're just putting it in today. Well, not next week after. So we've actually picked the same one, so I guess we can do this one together. So I've got the CD one, you can...
I've got the vinyl. This is a no-brainer. It's very difficult when you come down to an album cover that is so wonderful. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of other Caravan albums which are really good.
But this album cover, it's
just brilliant. It is. This is the In the Land of Grey and Pink, the whole of the album. And it is my favourite Caravan album.
Oh, yeah.
Ironically. It's I think it's the first album they made.
No, I think it's the second.
Second. And both of us love this album. And the artwork, I mean...
And it folds out like that.
It screams Hobbiton.
It screams prog.
And it screams Hobbiton, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, they got the castle on the back there as well. Look. That is very Lord of the Ringsy, with the thatched houses, thatched roof houses, and the...
Yeah, definitely.
The landscape and everything, the mountains, and then you turn it over and you got like the stone paths and everything. It's so good. It's very good.
Very, very good.
Just very nice colour palette. Candy floss looking sky. Very cool.
Yeah.
I do love it a lot.
And of course the font's great as well. That's very 60s.
Oh, it's very, it is. You're right about that. So Caravan, very good band. Canterbury Man. I think this is the last one. And I was considering this one because they're not strictly prog, but I think I'll throw them in there anyway because they are kind of on the border of progressive rock. This is Pink Floyd. We're kind of ending on the kind of big band of progressive rock. So shall I go first? Or do you So I'm going to pick also my favourite Pink Floyd album, Animals, because I like the little pig flying across the Battersea
Power Station, as it was then.
I just like this. I've seen the outtakes of this photo shoot, and it's just very, very cool, very fun. And I like the font as well, you know, very simple yet effective. And it's a gloomy sky, you know, it really kind of represents the music on the album, because the music on the album is like not dark, but it's very kind of political in its own way. Starting to get more political as they went on after this. I mean, after this was The Wall, so talk about politics. This is just really good. It's very gloomy, you know. Bad for the environment, power stations and stuff like that. It's not in use anymore, I don't think, is it?
No.
Obviously, bad for the environment.
I think it's now actually a hotel, I think.
But yeah, I just love the little piggy flying over the thing. I love album covers with animals on it, and an album called Animals. I would not have picked Atom Heart Mother because just big cow on the front, but it's not got anything too interesting on it. It's just the cow, but stuff with going on with the animals in the middle. It's actually a big inflatable pig, so that's very fun. I think that has got some sort of representation behind it, which I'm not going to get into because I'm not really a political person, but there we go. And finally,
for me, it's the same as you. My favourite Pink Floyd album, this one here, made in 1971. It's Metal. Now, people could say, what the hell's all that about? But it is so psychedelic. I mean, I am, as you all know, massive psych rock fan. I mean, The Dead, We're Not Worthy. So I put Floyd, The Dead into that area with Floyd. And this album, made in 1971, is brilliant. And it's got that really psychedelic feel about it. I think I don't know. I think
it looks like a nose.
It looks either like a nose or an ear. I don't know what it is. But
the back is good with the rippling.
With the rippling effect and the water effect, which we get to with echoes. I mean, the music obviously is just mind-blowingly brilliant. But this one here, as I say, it's all come around here. Needs probably right. I actually think it is a nose. But I digress. This is just absolutely wonderful album cover, and there's also something of 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, like at the end of it, when you have that scene where Keir Delia is actually plunging his way down to what is some planet or some system. And they have that huge psychedelic moment, and there's something about that sort of effect is in this album cover.
Yeah,
and that's another reason why I really liked it as well. It's very good. So this is Metal by Pink Floyd.
Great album. That concludes part 1. So next week, I've got a little schedule here because I really like being organised.
That's true.
So next week we're gonna talk about the present day progressive rock band, so late 80s onwards.
Can we just sort of give you an idea of who we're talking about?
So it'll be things like Dream Theater, Tool, Porcupine Tree / Stephen Wilson, you know, all these older...
The Mars Volta as well, yeah?
But there will be some more newer stuff as well, which you can look forward to, all the people out there who are into their modern progressive rock and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then the week after that we're going to go back to the 70s, but we're going to have a bit more of a different list. More later stuff, I guess. I mean, there are some early stuff in there, but you can have that to look forward to, and we're going to do that for the next month or so, and we'll go back to talking about more musical stuff very soon. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on Monday for a new Monday video. And I'm going to hint at what it is, because I think, Dad, you're going to be involved in Monday's video this time. It's going to be something European. We're going to talk about more European music, outside of the UK European. So
yeah, but vielleicht ein Deutsches.
And there we go. You might have already figured it out just from the language there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend and have a great week.
If you're in the UK, go outside. Enjoy the sun.